Hello and what's up everyone, Thunderbob here, and I am checking out some more Diablo 2 Resurrected tonight. What I've been doing this week is I've been checking out a lot of the popular ladder starting builds in anticipation of ladder starting next week. I'm considering going hardcore, so I'm looking at possible hardcore ladder characters. Right now I'm leaning towards probably starting with a Summon Necromancer. I kind of want to make a Fury Druid because back a decade ago when I last played hardcore, I got in the 90s and he died, and I want to relive that glory. And they've also buffed Fury a bit as well. Other characters I'm looking at, I've heard a lot of good things about the changes to Fist of the Heavens specifically. Also, Hydra Sorceress is in there. I'm looking at Fist of the Heavens tonight. The biggest thing is they've changed this ability where the Holy Bolts that stream off of it can now damage demons, which opens up a lot of areas that you can play through with this skill, with this build. So we're going to look at the skills, the stats. I'm going to run through like Chaos Sanctuary, which is probably the best area for this character. And then I'm going to show you a couple of areas that are not as effective. One thing I want to preface, this is a great character for things like Chaos Sanctuary, but I feel like it's getting a little overhyped as a ladder start character. It's great if you have a team. I think it's good to respec to, but there's going to be areas that you're running through where you're going to run into a lot of non-demons and non-undead. And I think you're going to get stuck or slow down considerably in those areas. But let's go ahead and look at it, and then we'll run through a couple of areas. The basics here are you max out Fist of the Heavens and its synergies, which are Holy Bolt and Holy Shock. You could run Holy Shock, but since you're not doing melee, you're not adding much damage, and the pulse from Holy Shock unsynergized isn't all that much. So a lot of people suggest going Conviction. That's what I'm running today. I've also seen some people do like a Smite hybrid, so they have something that better kill bosses with. I wanted to go full Fist of the Heavens, so I went Fist of the Heavens, its synergies, Conviction, and then I put the remaining points into Holy Shield. So that's what I'm looking at here. It seems to work pretty well. We'll look at stats here. Just enough for gear. I've got enough dexterity where with my Holy Shield, I've got max block, and then the rest in vitality. Gear here, pretty standard. I basically just took my Hammered in and modified it slightly. So I've got Heart of the Oak, Harlequin Quest, a really crazy crafted amulet that I brought over from the original game. Is kind of bugged because of that level requirement. You can see that. Enigma, Herald of the Zakarum, Sandstorm Trek, 2 SOJs, Arachnids, Mage Fist. Some life charms. I could probably put 2 more charms on here, but I got enough, I would say. So crazy gear. This is definitely looking at the very high end of the build. And that's kind of what I've been comparing is when I get pretty well geared, what can I expect out of these characters? So first off, I want to show you like best conditions. And we're even going to bump this up to players 8. And I do have Enigma, so I'm just going to teleport into the fun stuff. And what you want to do is kind of get as much density of the enemies as you can. Like, so it does okay here. But if you run forward and you get just like, a huge amount of guys, it feels kind of like the Amazon where Lightning Fury, like the more enemies you can kind of group together, the more effective it can be. And that works pretty well. But I feel like it's getting overhyped just a little bit. People are saying like, oh, this is the best Chaos Sanctuary character now, and I don't know. I feel like Chain Lightning might still beat it. I feel like Lightning Fury may beat this, and they've lowered the cooldown on it. It still feels a little awkward to me. Like, this skill has always felt a little awkward. I like it for like PvP, and I'm curious what the PvPers think of the changes. But like single target, the damage on it's still not amazing. It's mostly because of those holy bolts that it's effective. So like it does 5,000 lightning damage. That's the damage on the actual. Damn. Almost got my my buddy. I don't have him all that well equipped right now, to be honest. Forgot to show you that, but he's just running a nice insight, a fortitude, and Darius Visage. I could probably throw Infinity on him, but he felt like I didn't need it because I'm obviously using Conviction myself. Like, it's good, but it's good in, like, specific things. And that's things where there's lots of demons, that's things where there's lots of undead. And obviously, I could kind of rush this and just hit all the seals here. Here's, like, a good example of, like, when you got a whole lot of guys and just, like, those holy bolts just go crazy. It almost feels like the more guys you can draw together, the better you are gonna do it, or the more efficient you are, maybe. I've never really loved the gameplay loop of Fist of the Heavens. I'm just kind of standing here, I'm locked in place. Like, there's like that short cooldown timer on it. I almost wish they would have taken the cooldown off it completely, but then like lowered the damage commensurately. It's definitely better than what it was. But, like, everyone is hyping this up as the build to play, and I don't know, I don't quite see it. Don't get me wrong, it's still a great build, and probably... It's probably still, like, an S tier, but people are, like... I've heard people imply, like, this is gonna be overpowered, and... I don't know. I mean, this is player 8, and it is dominating, but I also have a pretty high level of gear, and I could do this with the Blessed Hammer, with Blizzard, with Lightning. For hardcore also, I don't think it's maybe the right direction to go in. Though you do have, you know, blocking, you have the high defense. So, I mean, it would work reasonably well. It's just the gear required, I think, to get to this level. And those guys are all immune to lightning, but you could see how quickly it just burned through them. Here's another issue. It's not great against bosses, and that's why some people do Smite. I've actually found Holy Bolt, since that also now damages demons, actually might be better in some cases. Wow. I can't tell, does the... When it's single target, is it getting hit by the Holy Bolt also? If so, then I suppose this is dealing more damage. It's just not the fastest at actually taking down the bosses. This is where going Smite or even 1-point Smite might be worth it. But you'd probably need a better weapon. Excuse me, you probably need to focus some of your gear on it. Maybe get like Drekpool's Grasp. Yeah. Oh. Like that. So I'm gonna jump to a couple areas where I can show you how it is less effective. Okay, so I've lowered it to player 1 difficulty, and you know, it does amazing in areas where there's a high density of undead and demons. It's just not quite as good in certain areas where there's not. Like Frigid Highland has a lot of non-demon, non-undead. Like when you're going through the single player game, you're gonna run into times where there are a lot of non-demon, non-undead. You can't do cows. You know, you're going through like, think about like the Maggot Lair. How the hell do you do the Maggot Lair with Fist of the Heavens and not be super frustrated? Even just like quill rats, player 1 difficulty, you're taking half a second to cast every single attack. These guys aren't demons. And this is player 1 difficulty. It's doable, it just takes longer. And this is with really, really high-end incredible gear. And then you run into some demons and, oh, they get murdered immediately. Quill rats, you're killing quill rats one at a time. Of course, you're probably running past these guys. You're probably just ignoring it. But it does take a lot more time. You know, like, here's some more examples. I'm gonna find my way to the Maggot Lair, but like, every enemy on this screen I can only kill with the lightning damage. So like, there are gonna be areas, if you're running through this game, you know, solo, you know, you don't have a team, you're not getting waypoints and stuff, be aware of that. That's, I guess, my biggest thing, is this build is great if you're on a team, it's great if you're getting, like, rushed and you're kind of just skipping stuff. I do, when I play the game, especially, like, for the first time, I like to do solo, I like to play through the game predominantly by myself. And I feel like it would be kind of frustrating, especially, this is with crazy gear and player 1 difficulty. If I was, you know, doing solo self-found, this would be excruciating. I'd probably be, you know, by the time I got to hell difficulty, I'd probably have like 1,000 damage, Fist to the Heavens, and even in this level of gear, like, just clearing through here would be forever. So, like, this is probably a build after you've gotten to a certain level of gear, or after you've beaten the game and you're ready to respec, would be my thought. I don't know if I would necessarily run through the game with this unless you're part of a team. Unless you're playing group play predominantly. And a lot of people are. But I just don't want people to be doing like solo self-found and think that this build is going to get them through the entire game and they're not going to run into issues. And I feel like that is what I've heard some people talking like, is oh, this is going to be the #1 most popular build. And like, well, to some extent, yeah, but I'm not going to be running through the game like this solo. I don't know, that's my thoughts. I still think it's a really good build, probably one of the top builds at this stage for certain things. And that's true of every build. You know, builds are optimized for certain things, builds are better for certain things, but do just be aware of that. You're not going to rock everything throughout the game without any problems. So I'm going to end it here. I do appreciate everyone for watching. I'm probably going to put one more video out for ladder starts, and then I'll be doing whichever character I picked. So keep an eye out for that. Do want to thank you again. Have a good night, everyone.